Have you ever felt a presence in the empty corners of a silent room, or sensed invisible eyes watching you in a dark desert night? Tales from ancient times whisper of beings neither human nor angelic, neither purely good nor wholly evil, yet profoundly powerful, and as old as the shifting sands of time. Welcome to this journey through hidden realms and mysterious origins, where we venture into the enigmatic world of the Jinn. In this story, we will unravel the riddle of why these beings, said to be born of smokeless fire, both captivate and terrify those who dare to believe in them. Buckle up, because once you start peering beyond the veil, you may never see the world or its shadows in quite the same way again.
Curious about mythology? The gods have spoken. You must follow Elysium mythology to uncover its mysteries. Don't miss a single episode.
They are neither angels nor demons, though stories often lump them with darker forces. The Jinn exist as a separate order of creation, molded from flames that leave no trace of smoke. This fiery origin places them in a gray area between what mortals comprehend as divine or infernal. Human beings are shaped from clay, and angels from pure light. Yet the Jinn occupy an entirely different spectrum, walking a precarious line between benevolence and malevolence. Across many generations, their legend has inspired awe, caution, and curiosity in equal measure. Tracing the roots of the Jinn takes us back to pre-Islamic Arabia, an era when Bedouin tribes thrived in arid deserts, and visitors congregated at oases for trade, storytelling, and community gatherings. In those early narratives, Jinn were perceived as spirits of nature, at times helpful, at times wrathful, often linked to the vastness of the desert or the echoing emptiness of abandoned ruins. Whether glimpsed at the edges of a campfire or whispered about in hushed tones, they blended seamlessly into the cultural imagination. When Islam emerged, the theological framework around the Jinn became more refined. The religion recognized these enigmatic beings as authentic creations of Allah, spirits who share with humans the privilege and burden of free will. However, even within this new context, their existence maintained a precarious air of unpredictability. Some embraced righteousness, devoting themselves to moral paths and occasionally aiding humans. Others succumbed to darker impulses, lashing out at mortal life in ways that are cunning, brutal, or simply mischievous. Their potential to wander between good and evil, hidden and revealed, has made them a steady source of fascination and fear. One of the most compelling aspects of the Jinn is the element of smokeless fire from which they were created. Humans can barely comprehend such a phenomenon. Fire, in our experience, generates heat, flickers with visible flames, and leaves behind rising smoke. Yet the Jinn's fire is described as pure, free from ash or residue, burning with a supernatural intensity. This unique composition grants them abilities far beyond our mortal range. In countless legends, their fiery origin allows the Jinn to inhabit realms we cannot perceive, places bordering human reality, yet existing just out of sight. They slip into unseen dimensions within dusty ruins or silent courtyards, always watching, always present, though rarely observed. This closeness to unseen planes means they can pass through barriers and appear where they please, aided by the blazing energy at their core. Shapeshifting is one of their most iconic and feared abilities. If a Jinn can adopt the likeness of a wandering traveler, a trusted friend, or a cunning beast, how can we ever be sure with whom we're speaking? Add to that the possible gift of invisibility, and you have a recipe for endless uncertainty. The sense that any random stranger, or even an empty room, might conceal a jinn fuels an enduring wariness in communities that acknowledge their existence. Imagine a caravan trekking through endless dunes, each camel carrying exotic wares bound for a bustling market. Under the moonlight, voices drift on the wind, whispering of possible dangers lurking behind the next dune: predators, bandits, and jinn. In the centuries before modern technology, the desert at night was a realm of echoing darkness, where any flicker of movement could be magical, threatening, or both. Tales abound of lone travelers stumbling upon an oasis shrouded in silence. In these stories, the wanderer might receive unexpected help, a guiding voice through the darkness, a gentle push of wind leading them to water. Alternatively, they might feel the oppressive weight of malicious eyes, see illusions that trick them away from safety, or find themselves accompanied by a shadowy figure that disappears without a trace. In these ambiguous encounters, one never knew if the desert had provided a mysterious protector or a cunning aggressor. If we delve deeper, the jinn's ability to alter their form is among their greatest assets and the root of their peril. This shape-shifting can be as subtle as taking on the appearance of an ordinary person, or as dramatic as morphing into monstrous beings with fiery eyes. Their transformations often reflect their intentions. A jinn on a helpful mission may appear as a kind stranger offering directions or protection. A jinn bent on mischief or revenge might choose a more intimidating guise, perhaps a colossal creature flickering with heat and shadow. Not only do they manipulate physical appearances, but jinn are also rumored to possess the capacity to influence thoughts. Whether this means reading human minds or implanting suggestions varies from one story to another. Nonetheless, the common thread is clear. They can exploit human fears, desires, and doubts. In some households, unexplained feelings of dread or sudden conflict between family members are attributed to an unseen jinn sowing discord. These creatures have the means to nudge us towards self-destruction, all while remaining concealed behind a familiar face or an invisible presence. A crucial aspect often overlooked is the variety of jinn tribes and classes, each with distinctive traits, personalities, and domains. Contrary to the simplistic view that all jinn are fundamentally the same, these beings exhibit internal hierarchies and roles, contributing to the layered mystery that surrounds them. Renowned for their formidable might and perceived arrogance, marids are often linked to water. In some anecdotes, they dwell near rivers or the coast, capable of manipulating tides or swirling currents. Fabled to grant wishes at a steep cost, the marid are not inherently malicious but are proud, demanding deep reverence from those who approach them. Making a deal with a marid can lead to extraordinary boons or catastrophic backlash. Associated with the most intense of flames, Ifrit are said to be fierce, intelligent, and often driven by vengeance. Their fiery essence marks them as among the most feared, dwelling in desolate places like abandoned buildings or charred ruins. When Ifrit appear in tales, they frequently take on the role of retribution, punishing those who have desecrated sacred grounds or shown blatant disrespect to the unseen worlds. The word itself evokes images of devils and ultimate tricksters. Shaitan embody the darker urges and relish in causing chaos. They specialize in temptation and manipulation, luring mortals into harmful decisions. Their cunning approach is subtle. They often whisper vile ideas or destructive suggestions, that steer human hearts astray, intensifying the darkest parts of human nature. Grisly stories portray ghoul as graveyard predators, scavengers of the dead, or shape-changers that lure travelers away from safety. Emerging from eerie wastelands, ghoul might manifest in monstrous forms, or sometimes adopt more appealing shapes to trap their victims. They are frequently portrayed as the malevolent, nightmarish side of Jinn existence, reveling in fear and bloodshed. In contrast to the previous menacing types, the Jinn serve as protective spirits of nature. They might adopt animal forms, commonly snakes or other desert creatures, and are considered guardians of travelers passing through remote areas. Though not always interfering, the Jinn have a history of offering guidance or gentle assistance to those who treat the land with respect. They are perceived as neutral watchers, uninterested in mortal affairs unless provoked. The Jinn remain somewhat mysterious, typically linked with the animal kingdom, particularly dogs. They keep their distance from humans, inhabiting rural expanses and quietly coexisting with earthly life. While they can shapeshift, their primary concern appears to be solitude, showing neither aggression nor overt kindness unless circumstances force them to react. A category of female Jinn recognized for their bewitching transformations, the Selar are often depicted as seductive illusionists who lead wanderers astray. They play on human emotions, weaving intricate illusions that may seem harmless at first, but eventually plunge victims into disarray. Their hallmark is cunning charm, using allure and misdirection to achieve their ends. This hierarchy underscores how the Jinn race cannot be conveniently labeled as purely benevolent or entirely evil. Each group carries its own motivations, moral codes, and limits, creating a kaleidoscope of possible encounters. Whether a meeting turns out fortuitous or disastrous hinges largely on which type of Jinn an individual faces and how that individual conducts themselves. Many communities adhering to Jinn lore abide by unspoken guidelines to avert accidental confrontations. Simple acts, like avoiding whistling at night, refraining from tossing hot water into deserted alleys, or steering clear of abandoned structures, are woven into daily life. By respecting these cultural taboos, people believe they can maintain peaceful coexistence with the unseen. Stories of possessions or spiritual disturbances are taken seriously in regions where belief in Jinn is prominent. Individuals may seek the help of religious authorities or local wise figures to alleviate the problem, whether it's a personal torment or unexplained illnesses haunting an entire household. These rituals might include the reading of sacred texts, purification ceremonies, or even exorcisms aimed at expelling malevolent presences. Perhaps even more gripping is the psychological impact of such belief systems. In societies where Jinn are considered genuine, any unexplained noise in an isolated corner of the home or sudden shift in one's emotional state can take on supernatural meaning. While some might interpret these phenomena as signs of mental health struggles or natural occurrences, others are quick to suspect Jinn involvement. This dynamic can unify a community, creating networks of spiritual and emotional support. Family and friends rally around those who say they have been targeted by Jinn, offering prayers and counsel. Yet it can also incite heightened fear, especially if rumors spread about a malevolent entity nearby. The line between legitimate spiritual encounters and psychological stressors can become blurred, but that only adds another layer of mystery to the Jinn's shadowy presence. For many believers, the Quran offers the clearest line of defense. Specific verses are recited daily as a protective shield, a spiritual armor believed to repel malevolent entities. During nighttime prayers, especially in households where supernatural phenomena are suspected, families may gather in a circle, reciting prayers with heightened fervor. This communal practice strengthens faith bonds, asserting that divine power surpasses even the mightiest jinn. In various Middle Eastern, African, and Southeast Asian cultures, amulets inscribed with holy verses or sacred symbols are worn around the neck or kept in pockets. These objects serve as ever-present reminders of spiritual protection. Some are designed with intricate calligraphy, others rely on geometric patterns or mystical numbers. Believers hold that these items form a metaphysical barrier against jinn intrusion. Traditional cleansing rituals involve sprinkling salt water around a home's perimeter, burning specific aromatic resins, or even washing one's clothes in particular sequences of prayer. The intention is to purify the environment, thereby reducing the chance of jinn inhabiting the space. Before venturing into places rumored to be haunted, like abandoned wells or remote caves, some people engage in a combination of prayer and carefully rehearsed rites aimed at appeasing any local jinn, or at the very least, not angering them. The most universal guideline across all these traditions is caution. Never mock or underestimate a jinn, and refrain from meddling in their domain. Summoning them through questionable magical means, or calling their names in jest, can invite disastrous repercussions. Cultures that respect the jinn emphasize peaceful coexistence and prudent behavior over outright confrontation, urging people to understand that these beings have existed for centuries and cannot be tamed by human arrogance. Central to the jinn's intrigue is their capacity for free will. This concept appears in Islamic texts, placing the jinn in a morally ambiguous zone. They are not divinely programmed like angels, who must follow the will of the Creator, nor are they irredeemably evil like certain demonic forces. Instead, they exist in a fluid moral space, choosing their path much like humans do. A jinn might, for reasons of compassion or curiosity, help a lost traveler by offering subtle guidance, a vision in a dream, a gentle breeze pushing them towards safety. On another occasion, that very same jinn might lash out violently if provoked, using supernatural might to intimidate or harm. There's no singular moral trajectory, only the daily or even moment-to-moment decisions shaped by each being's desires, biases, and experiences. One of the most fascinating implications of jinn free will is the potential for these creatures to grow, learn, and even change alliances. A jinn that initially acts maliciously might over time develop empathy for human struggles and switch to a more benevolent approach. Conversely, a well-intentioned jinn that has been betrayed or disrespected by humans might descend into bitterness, pursuing revenge without mercy. This moral fluidity ensures that encounters remain perpetually unpredictable. A region's folklore may paint a certain valley as protected by benevolent jinn, yet in the blink of an eye, that protection could turn to danger if the jinn's goodwill is lost. Accordingly, travelers might be welcomed one day, only to be shunned or endangered the next. Their formidable abilities, shape-shifting, invisibility, possible mind-reading, set jinn apart from ordinary supernatural legends. Humans cannot always detect them, nor can we easily guard against illusions crafted to ensnare our senses. These talents alone would be enough to instill caution, but combined with the element of free will, the jinn become highly volatile forces that operate just outside the boundaries of human law or understanding. Unlike angels confined to goodness or devils sealed in eternal darkness, The Jinn possess a moral spectrum that can tilt in any direction. One might be protective, another malicious, and still another indifferent. This lack of moral fixity makes them doubly dangerous. A human can never be sure which side of the coin a Jinn has chosen until it's too late. Jinn can harbor grudges against individuals, families, or entire communities for offenses, real or imagined. They can wait years, even centuries, to exact revenge. Their timelines vastly exceed human lifespans, meaning a child born into a feud with a Jinn could bear the consequences of an ancestor's misdeed. This enduring memory heightens the stakes of any interaction. Beyond immediate physical danger, belief in the Jinn influences social norms and personal fears. People might blame Jinn for all manner of calamities, from unexplained illnesses to misfortunes in business. This attribution can lead to cycles of suspicion, fear, and even scapegoating within communities. While these repercussions may be intangible, they reinforce the perception that Jinn are forces to be respected and feared. To gaze upon the Jinn is to witness an alternate dimension brushing against our own, a domain where reason meets the supernatural. Even as science and rationality reshape modern society, the legends of Jinn endure, woven into daily practices and bedtime stories alike. There is a quiet humility in acknowledging that not all can be explained by empirical observation. For believers, the Jinn serve as a reminder of hidden possibilities and spiritual truths. For skeptics, they stand as a testament to the power of cultural narratives.
If this video sparked your curiosity, drop a like, or better yet, a super like, and show the gods you want more epic mythology.
In a world increasingly interconnected by technology, interest in global mythologies has surged. Stories of the Jinn now intersect with others from around the globe, merging Arabian folklore with countless narratives of spirits, monsters, and magical beings. This fusion sparks new interpretations in film, literature, and art, casting Jinn as antagonists, anti-heroes, or wise mentors. But no matter the adaptation, the core essence remains. They are a realm of possibility, at once terrifying and entrancing, inhabiting the periphery of what mortals can comprehend. For modern seekers of adventure and mystery, the Jinn offer a deeply compelling subject. Those who feel stifled by the constraints of ordinary life may find intrigue in the notion of creatures who lurk behind every door, capable of unveiling new realities. Yet caution is always advised. There is beauty in the unknown, but also potential peril, especially when dealing with beings that can choose, at any moment, to aid or destroy. So why, after all these centuries, do the Jinn still captivate us with both wonder and dread? Perhaps it's because they embody the fragile balance between mortal frailty and supernatural might. They represent the possibility that our world, however thoroughly we chart it, still harbors corners of enigma, places and entities that defy easy classification. Their tales resonate with a deep human longing for the extraordinary and a parallel anxiety about forces we cannot tame. Jinn are dangerous precisely because they mirror us in a distorted way. They can be noble or vile, generous or vindictive, calm or tempestuous, just as we can. But they wield powers that surpass our most advanced knowledge, and their motives can remain shrouded behind centuries of cryptic knowledge and hidden realms. In the end, the Jinn draw us toward the paradox of seeking out what we simultaneously fear. Each account, whether told around a desert campfire or discovered in the recesses of ancient libraries, reminds us that sometimes the most formidable threats are those that whisper rather than roar, lurking quietly in the spaces we least expect. They are neither angels nor demons, but something else entirely. A reflection of humanity's best and worst possibilities cast in the relentless glow of that smokeless fire. Approach them with reverence, curiosity, and caution, for they stand as age-old gatekeepers to the mysterious thresholds of our world, and perhaps to our own deeply held uncertainties and dreams.
Thanks for watching until the end. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like, share with fellow mythology fans, and follow Elysium Mythology for more epic stories.